Hello everybody and welcome to Vroom Vroom Zoom. My name is Andrew and today we are going to have a look at this beautiful car. So this is the 8th generation Camry and I'm sure you have seen one on the road, you've possibly even owned one, or you're looking at buying one. Well, this is the video for you. So this is our actual car. This is my wife's car and we've owned it for about 4 months now, and I just thought I'd share my thoughts and what's it like, and you know, a few bits and pieces now that we've had it for a little while. So this is the 8th generation Camry. It has changed a lot over the years. It's been around for a long time, since the late 80s I think they first came out. So it's just have a look at it. It's wow, it's just beautiful. Have you ever thought that you could actually say that it's beautiful about a Camry? It's got this sporty elements to it. Beautiful front grille design. It's very unique. I mean, you can't really miss a Camry. The thing about this Camry is it's still a iteration of the previous model. You can still see that they've got the styling cues from the previous model, enhanced it all, and have made it look quite sporty now, the Ascent Sport. So the Camry Ascent Sport has a slightly different front grille design to the base model. It's a little bit more sporty. It's got a little bit more colors through here. The base model has a huge front vent here, whereas this one's broken up a little bit. And yeah, I think to me it looks a lot more sportier, a lot more refined, a little bit more premium. The headlights are now LED and they work magically at night, like really good lighting, and they're automatic dimming as well from high beam. So a great little feature there and really good light. Okay, let's have a quick look at the rims. So there's nothing super flash about them, but they're quite a nice design. And it comes with Michelin Primacy 3 ST tyres as stock. And I can tell you that during driving, the tyre sound coming from the actual tyre doesn't sound that bad at all. So they're quite a good tyre in terms of road noise coming back into the cabin. And while we're talking about the cabin, obviously it is pretty well insulated, and I'll talk to you about that a little bit later in terms of how well isolating this car is. Okay, let's start talking about some of the niceties in this car. And one of the main ones that straight away, when you enter the car, you have a keyless system here for the car. Is when you walk up to the car, all you have to do is touch on the inside here on the front, and it unlocks the car. It's so cool. It's just a little nicety that really adds to the whole appeal of owning a Camry. Okay, moving around to the rear of the vehicle, and again, beautiful redesign. The lights have gotten narrower and narrower as the years have progressed, and the model have become more and more modernized. So on this one you have this little vent looking thing, but it doesn't do anything, it's just a styling cue. And then here you've got this nice narrower light. Really love the look of that. It suits the car perfectly, and yeah, I think Toyota have done really well in that design. Just to finish off the back, you've got a nice little lip on this one. Obviously with the SL, it's like the sportier models, which are significantly more expensive, you get a extra little lip over here, but I really like how it's got just this little one and it looks quite nice. Big Camry badge, wearing it proudly, and Toyota of course right in the middle. You can tell, and I only learned this a few months ago, but you can tell if a Toyota is a hybrid model if there's a blue sort of indent, like a inset blue edge to this logo, then you know it's a hybrid model. And you can see that this one is not a hybrid, it is just a plain good old petrol. I'm not sure how well you're going to see it, but down at the back here you've got dual exhausts coming out the back, and surprisingly, well, or not surprisingly, this is the first level up from the base model. Only one of the exhausts is used, so that one's a little bit dirty, and this one is very, very clean. So it I'm fairly certain that that second one just sits there and doesn't do anything. I don't know, someone tell me otherwise please if you know better. But yeah, it does look sporty. Nice little lip at the back as well, little low spoiler. All right, let's take this Camry for a drive. And straight away, before I start anything, I just have to say this feels really, really comfortable for me. There's a really high armrest over here with the gear lever virtually horizontal with it, and that I love that, especially after some of the cars I've owned. That is amazing. The steering wheel, leather covered, or feels like leather, some sort of a leather. Yeah, really nice feeling. It's a little bit smooth, a little bit kind of smooth on a smoother side, but feels really good. And you know, I've got a lot of vision. The mirrors, easily see out of those. There's a really lot to like about the way, I personally love the way that you sit in this car and the way that you engage with the car. All right, a lot of reviewers like to talk about the soft touch points and that sort of stuff. I don't really care if it's soft touch or not soft touch, as long as it's hard wearing and as long as it looks okay. So on the Camry, there's a lot of dark, like a lot of black bits everywhere. There are some pieces like over here on the passenger side, as the entertainment unit sort of sweeps off to the left, it has a bit of that reverse stitching that you can see, and also a lighter panel. So that's kind of a nice touch to break up the black in here. It still has a CD player, has this little silver section there, and the big screen in the middle. I think it's a 7-inch unit. So I think, again, Toyota have done a really good job integrating the screen into the dash. So it looks like it's made for it. 2021, there's going to be a different dash coming to suit the rest of the sort of the way that the entertainment units have been going recently, which makes it look a little bit like a tablet. And I thank you, Tesla, for bringing that model to everything, which is having like a big, tablet thing sitting in the middle. I don't know. I can kind of see the appeal, but I also really see the appeal of having an integrated unit like this, which looks nice and, designed for the car rather than a bang on. Okay, so we're taking this beautiful car for a spin, and it always helps to have a bit of a background to where I've come from. So we've owned Holden Commodores, Ford Falcons. I've owned a Peugeot. We had a Citroen C4 Grand Picasso for a little while. So the main noticeable thing for this car is it's so refined. Like it's so quiet and everything's so calm, and you just want to drive the car in a calm way. It doesn't make you want to accelerate. Like, you just want to be gentle with it. That's what it makes you feel like. So it's pretty cool. I don't know. It really takes the that mentality of driving it sporty and driving it rough away. Like, could because it's a new car for us, I don't know, but I can tell you that I have not ever super accelerated on this car like I have in some other cars. So, and the car's refined and it makes you drive in a refined way. There's something about the way that the way that the noise is suppressed in this car. Like, there's going to be some noise coming in as we're driving along. But it's everything is just like muted. Like everything is soft and gentle. And you know what? I know it's the Ascent Sport, and I know it has a lovely sporty design, as I've mentioned before, and loving that outside design of this car. But you know what? It doesn't make you want to drive it fast. Nothing in this car in here makes you want to be really sporty. Like, the steering wheel is a good size. It's not a super tiny little MX-5 steering wheel. The dash doesn't make a huge fanfare as the revs climb, and even as you accelerate, okay, the engine is just smooth and refined, and the exhaust just, I don't know, it makes me drive the car in a really sedate, calm way. And I think that is the reason why we've ended up with this car. Like, I never wanted to buy a Camry. Camrys, they're beige. As soon as you get in the car and you shut the doors, you feel like you're in this beautiful, modern, smooth, refined car, and it makes you drive that way. Okay, so well done to Toyota for creating a car that makes a person drive sensibly and smoothly and calmly, and just really enjoy the experience of just driving the car. It's a contradiction to what you see on the outside of the car, as it's a sporty sedan, saloon, whatever you want to call it. But you step in here and it's just like a limousine. It's just very, very nice. Okay, let's talk about a few of the things in here. So you've got really comfortable seats. It's, very good. A little bit supportive. Nice and soft. It's definitely not an SUV style hard seat. It's just kind of sitting nicely. Lovely little support on the side. Fits me perfectly. So I'm 178 centimeters, around 84 kilos, and this just, they're really good seats for me. Like, very supportive. Not too soft, not too hard. They're just right. They are electronic. overall for the whole car industry, if you're going to put electronic adjustable seats into a car, then please just have a little extra, little chip, little computer that allows everyone to just push a button and to set the position, because you know, it's just super annoying. I mean, why not do it? Why not integrate what's it going to cost you? $5, $10? Come on, Toyota. Come on, car industry. Preset seat positions, definitely something that should be on these. This one doesn't have it. I know some cars that do have it, but there's something that really needs to trickle down into the you know, everyday cars. The dash is not the most modern thing, but it's definitely very well designed, easy to read. Dials are very clear. The dash has a lovely electronic panel in the middle. It tells you lots of different bits and pieces about your car. You know, there's probably better designs out there, but again, a lovely upgrade from, you know, the previous generation Camry and those sorts of cars that have gone before it. All right, so another nicety, and it's something that for me now, if you're going to spend money on a new car, it has to have this. It just has to have it. Is adaptive cruise. So the Toyota has their version of it, and really easy to operate, all on the right hand, and it works really nicely. Very good system. It has the lane departure warning and lane departure correction. I don't know exactly what they're calling it at Toyota, but it's something that is a little bit annoying. The warning, if you drive, you know, the way I like to drive, which is not exactly in the middle, when we go around corners, it will start beeping at you. There it goes, and that is super annoying. Thankfully, you can turn it off with one button push. Have I told you how refined this car is? Because I fully understand why taxi companies use these cars for taxis. They are bulletproof, refined, yeah, amazing to drive. Definitely see it. So this car has plenty of space in the back. Most of the time it's going to be for families, of course, and if you're watching this video, you're probably thinking about buying, you know, a family car, a family sedan. So this car really for kids is overkill. There's a lot of space in the back for kids. For grown-ups, it's pretty good. Still, you know, as you would expect a sort of sedan like this to be. So yeah, plenty of space, lots of comfort. And I can report that in the middle seat, it's actually quite comfy as well. So sometimes that middle seat can be a little bit harsh, but a little bit harder. But no, it's actually really quite good. It does have fold-down armrests with cup holders as well. Okay, the boot is absolutely ginormous. So when you open a very easy to open boot on this car, you think, oops, it's going to have a tiny little, teeny weeny little boot, but no, it just keeps going and going and going. It is a huge boot. I think it's over 500 liters. So yeah, again, just the benefit of having a sedan with that lovely back end, and the way that the seats have been angled forwards, you get that excellent space for you know, a lot of luggage, definitely bags, groceries, that sort of stuff. It does have a little lip down into the boot, but I don't know, that's much of a muchness for me. Those sorts of things don't really matter unless you have a sore back, in which case you do not want that car. You want probably a Corolla. So the Camry Ascent Sport has sat-nav built in. It is not the best system. Sometimes it's actually quite inaccurate. And you know how in the olden days they used to jump across a little bit and not be quiet on the road? Well, it's done that to us a couple of times now, where yeah, it's not quite the best system. The stop, I mean, it does fine. It's working perfectly at the moment. 99% of the time it works perfect, but it's not as refined as, you know, what it could be. It does come with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It is a plug-in system, so you still have to have the cord, and the phone has to be located close enough to have it plugged in. There is a lovely shelf there for that purpose. It does have the cup holder spots as well if you just want to have your phone sitting upright in there. I personally don't like doing that, but yeah. And it has pretty good storage under the compartment in the middle there. Visibility out of this car is quite sufficient. The pillars are quite small. I've not really had a problem. Feels really good. It does not have blind spot monitoring. That is something that this particular model has lucked out on. you have to go to a higher model, I think, to get that. So at the moment, this car retails for around 34, 35 drive away. So I think for that, you get a lot of car. For $34,000, $35,000, you're getting a lot of car. It's actually probably one of the, I'll go out and say that it's probably one of the best value cars on the road at the moment, especially if you want something a little bit bigger and so refined. I can't get over how refined this car is. I mean, that is why we bought it, ultimately. It just feels really good, A couple of things that let this car down a little bit, in my opinion, and that is that, and I don't want to contradict myself, but it has a fairly gutless engine. If you push it, it picks up okay, but you can tell it doesn't really want to do it. So when you put your foot down, the car kind of says, oh, come on, do we really have to? All right, I'll do it. And then the revs go up, and it does need a fair few revs. Like you can really sort of start to feel that it's out of its comfort zone a little bit. But yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's not a race car. We're not going to kid ourselves. It's not a racing car. It kind of feels like, obviously I don't know, but it kind of feels like Toyota have been listening to feedback about this car. Notoriously, Toyotas have had really touchy brakes, and the Camrys have. And this model here is just perfect. It's just been adjusted to perfection, really. Okay, so this Camry here is the 6-speed auto version. They have started to use, I think they're going to stop using the 6-speed in favor of the 8-speed, which there's been some reports of hunting, but this one here, nothing like that. It's just nice and smooth, drives very nicely. Actually a little bit reminiscent of my Commodore in terms of the way that it still, just finds the right gear at the right time and doesn't actually go up and down straight away. It's kind of holds gear nicely as well. Okay, so it has the usual suite of active and passive safety things. I'm not going to go through them all. I'm sure you've probably seen them already in other reviews. I can't be bothered right now, but there's lots of it in here. So the stereo is quite good. The speakers work well. Yeah, good front center stage. Definitely hear the stereo. It also has DAB, good little bonus there. Digital radio, AM, FM, all the usual stuff. And CD player, I think I've mentioned it already. So it does have a CD player, which is completely pointless these days, unless, of course, your target market still listens to CDs. So yeah, it's got a CD player. One of the things that is a little bit of an annoyance is that, and this is a very minor gripe, is that this center console here, like the entertainment console, is a dust magnet. It is super, super shiny, reflective, and any dust on there just glitters like sunshine, and it's something that needs a wipe down fairly frequently. And before I forget, it also has dual climate control, which is pretty cool. At the back of the car, it does have some aircon vents for the rear passengers, which is always good in Australia. Pretty much every car in Australia should have that. So who is this car for? Well, the obvious target market is going to be families, and that is why we bought it. Lots of space in this car for you and your luggage and your kids and everything else. If taxi companies and Uber drivers use Camrys, then it's going to tell you something about the car. Hey, it's going to be reliable, it's going to be hard wearing, it's going to be a good car for its passengers. Retirees who grew up in the 70s, 80s, looking at a Camry, you probably grew up with Kingswoods and Commodores and all sorts, Falcons and that sort of stuff. This is a car that's going to be all of those things, but better. Okay, and if you love sedans, like I love sedans, then obviously it's going to be the car for you. Some of the competitors, well, there really isn't too many out there at the moment. You've got the Hyundai i30 sedan, which is a little bit smaller, actually probably quite considerably smaller. Toyota itself, you have the Corolla sedan, which is only a tiny bit smaller than the Camry, but very same sort of pricing. So you're about in the same spot, but with slightly smaller, so easier for parking. But apart from that, that's it from Toyota. at this price range in particular, you don't really have any other competitors, not in sedans and not for this price. So you've got next level up, you could go a Stinger, which is way more sportier but way more expensive. You could go any of the BMWs, beautiful cars obviously, but you're not going to get one for 34 grand. You've got the Audis, of course, they are beautiful cars again. You've got Lexuses, which are again beautiful, but all, you know, at least sort of almost double the money for this sort of thing. So yeah, look, I don't think it really has much competition, to be honest. I think it's a very standalone, beautiful sedan. Holden and Ford have quit the game here in terms of making large Aussie cars. So this is your best option if you are, you know, wanting to continue on that sort of trend. That about wraps it up for the Toyota Camry. Look, thank you for watching to the end. I hope you've enjoyed my review. I'm hoping to do a whole bunch of these. We've got a few cars coming. I've got a new car coming myself in a couple of weeks, so I'll do some reviews on that. So if you haven't already, can I please ask that you subscribe? That'd be awesome. And yeah, I look forward to making more and more of these, and hopefully you can come along and, you know, enjoy my passion for cars and share all this you know, wonderful technology that we are now seeing in these modern cars. Bye everyone.